personal responsibility out of the equation and parental responsibility. So if we're talking about a child's access to the internet, the computer should be in a room where the parents can supervise the activity on the computer.
It's our choice to put whatever we want on MySpace. It's called freedom of speech.
I have two kids, 12 and 14. I'm as concerned about them as anybody on the other side of this debate. I simply believe that I don't have to give up my children's First Amendment rights in order to secure their safety.
I see the internet as a tool, a means of communication, and some tools you can't just give to anyone without any sort of enforcement or any sort of monitoring. We wouldn't want to give kids access to tools that they're not ready for.
There's a lot of concern recently about MySpace and Facebook and other kind of social gathering places on the internet, because unfortunately there are a lot of predators out there who are luring young people into activities they shouldn't be involved in and really exploiting them. And so there have been some people who said because Facebook and MySpace and some of these gathering places on the internet have been used to exploit children, that we should ban them or prevent them from operating. I think that's going too far. I think the First Amendment preserves our right to go on the internet and to gather with other people that we want to talk to and communicate with. But I do think there are things short of banning those kinds of sites that we could do to ensure that people aren't exploited. You know, we need to educate people who use Facebook and MySpace a lot more about some of the bad things that can happen. I mean, the internet is much like the physical world. There are good neighborhoods and bad neighborhoods, and you want to be very alert and not end up in a bad neighborhood. And so I think that's the kind of message we need to send to people who use the internet so they on their own can make good choices about how they use the internet.
First Amendment protections should protect what goes on the internet are now being jeopardized by what I consider not so voluntary proposals to attach arbitrary ratings and labels to websites, including those that carry news.
I think that the marketplace should be able to, the people should be able to decide what speech is appropriate and what speech is not appropriate. I would hate to see any kind of government regulation on people's freedom of speech on the internet.
You have to really look at what was the intention of the founding fathers and the Constitution in giving us the freedom of speech. That would be a good way of going to it, because then I don't think that they intended to have a website where every crazy idea is promoted. And I would really love to see what they would have thought about the website, how it's being used today.
I think there should be some regulations, government regulations on internet programs such as MySpace, because just last year I myself was a victim of what I consider to be identity theft, where a student, just as a joke, created an account for me with my picture on it, and people could put comments on it and everything. I have no control over what goes on that page. I have no way to get into that page because I don't know the password.
There is a great responsibility with the power of the internet, and with that responsibility comes doing the right thing, and those that seek to do the wrong thing should be held accountable.
I don't think that the government should have any control over your MySpace, because you have the option to make it private, and that's your own personal choice.
I think they should, because all these people can write anything they want on there. Basically it's just like a free control thing where all these people around who knows where, you might get someone in China or something like that reading about you, but all these people could just write anything about you. They could make a false account about you and write all this stuff about you and make up this lies or something, like for friends or something like that, and just absolutely ruin your entire life.
There are time, manner, and space restrictions on freedom of speech right now. For example, you cannot go into a crowded movie theater and yell fire. That's not a protected speech for anybody to do. So there are restrictions to freedom of speech. With freedom comes responsibility, and as long as people are responsible in the exercise of the freedom that they have, things usually work out okay.
You should have to be required to give a social security number or something to set up an account so that way people are not actually creating pages for other people, because that's identity theft.
Well, I think there's laws on the books right now for identity theft, in addition to dealing with the computer espionage issue. But if people are violating the law, they should be held accountable, whether it's on the internet or not on the internet.